So, extraterrestrials. Could it be that they are real? Could we find them? Guys, welcome back to T-Bone Southern Ride. As we go down the road at half the speed we need on the old Midnight Express here. In case you guys haven't been outside and opened your ears, the locusts have landed. Cicadas, locusts, whatever you want to call them. This is their year, and they're here. And man, do they make some noise. Good grief. Of course, the Bible tells us that the locusts are plague, so I guess we're good. We're in the year of the plague. Thought last year was the year of the plague, but now round 2. But I wanted to do a little content right here, guys. A conversation was started the other day, just in passing, with a buddy of mine. I won't put him on blast, but we were talking about one of the very first videos I did. You would have to scroll down and go all the way back to nearly the beginning of T-Bone's Tender Moments to find this subject, where I talked about, as you've seen in the header, aliens and are we alone in the universe. And I went back and rewatched the video that I did, and you know, I pretty well much gave my theory of why I didn't think it was so far-fetched, and I gave a little bit of proof, which one of my buddies, Milkman, said I was really reaching in that video. But so I had started to go back and just reshare that video from T-Bone's Tender Moments, but then I realized that that video wasn't on YouTube, and I thought, you know what, I'll just take it from T-Bone's Tender Moments and I'll put it together in content for T-Bone's Southern Ride, and I will just revisit that subject again. So in revisiting that subject is, do I believe that there is extraterrestrial life outside of this planet? Do I believe that there are such thing as aliens? The short answer to that is yes, I believe that there's something out there. But when I gave my theory of what I thought it might be, I had conversations about the video, like I said, not in the comment sections or anything like that, but I did have conversations about the video and the content and what I shot. And like I said, some people thought I was reaching, and I actually had some people that say, you know what, I agree with you completely. So I thought it would be interesting to bring it back. So I am a Christian, and I believe in God. I believe that God is the creator. And, you know, if that's not what you believe, then by all means, I would never, you know, not like you or be against you because you don't believe in God. You know, I do. I know how I feel. And the biggest point that I made in this video about extraterrestrials or aliens or whatever you want to call them is that the first thing that we find out, if you go back to the very beginning of the King James Version Bible, which is our introduction to who we are, in my opinion. If you go back to the very beginning of the Bible, the very first introduction that we have to God is that He is a creator. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And then you go on and you read in that chapter, it tells you everything was created. But my question then became, okay, our first introduction to God was that He was a creator. So why would we ever think that God would stop creating with just us? Knowing that he was a creator, and he loved to create, and he loved his creations. You know, why would we ever think that he would stop just with us? You know, and you can sit down and you can have a conversation one-on-one with a single person, and everybody that I've had this conversation says, you know what, I've never looked at it that way. God was the creator. Now, when I talk about aliens, do I mean E.T. or the Predators, or, you know, little green men or little gray men? No, I've never really subscribed to that being what it is. I actually think if we're going to look at this further in what I'm talking about here, and we put God into it as the creator, you and me, the Bible teaches us we were created in God's image. So we should be looking more for us out there. You know, and who's to say, you know, that God's, you know, when he finished here, or when he finished there creating human life on another planet, that he didn't come here and do the same thing. Because I can't wrap my mind around just the ideal, okay, the ideal that God, who loved to create, would just stop with us, that we would be it, that there would be no more creating. Once he created us, he was done. I can't wrap my mind around that, and you know, it's very it's very egotistical to think that we're it. You know, that's a pretty bold statement in the infinity of space. Now, according to the people who are supposedly smarter than you and I, the people who have multiple PhDs and degrees hanging on their walls and plaques hanging on their walls, according to those folks that are so much smarter than you and I, space is infinite, with several galaxies and everything else, millions of planets, billions and billions of stars. So if space is infinite, why did it just stop with this little bitty blueberry planet out here? Why would he stop creating with just us? And I mean, that's kind of what I put forward, and I've had a lot of conversation about that video. People who didn't know that's how I believed. And it's just me studying the way things are, guys, and saying that, you know, we know God to be a creator. It can't just be us. Because to think that it's just us kind of, you know, that kind of feels bad for me. I mean, to think that if we were alone out here in this, the vastness of space, if we were it, that would be, you know, to me, that would be kind of bad. I mean, you know, I would hate to think that we were it. Now, I don't have no proof for what I'm saying. You know, it's kind of, this is one of those conversations when you start talking about life on other planets. You get into the realm of Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and people being abducted by aliens. I mean, you start getting into the conspiracy theorists. And I'm not putting forth this as a conspiracy, or it's just what I kind of think the possibility might be. That, you know, there is something more than just us out there. Because the signs that I'm reading and what I'm getting out of it is that the deity that created us loved to create. So in creating, you know, why would we ever think that he would just stop creating once he created us? Because we're far from perfect. So if he was going to create and keep creating until he reached perfection, if you go on that, then we're nowhere near perfection. So if he kept creating until he reached perfection, he could still be out there putting life on other planets as we speak. But you know, it's just, and like I said, guys, this is not something that I'm here begging you to subscribe to. You know, everybody has their own opinions and their own beliefs about this subject, and any subject. It's just like any subject out there, guys. This right here is just T-Bone's opinion, how I see it, what I think might be going on. You know, and I'm not looking to argue the point or to offend anybody or insult anybody. I just, you know, this is kind of just, it was interesting. You know, the conversation came up about the video, and like I said, you would have had to have went all the way back to nearly the beginning of all of my videos to find the first couple of episodes of T-Bone's Tender Moments that I shot. And I did a fairly lengthy video about this when I did it, but you know, it's a topic and it's a conversation starter. And like I said, I'm not trying to influence you to subscribe to that, to believe that. You know, certainly there's something out there. I don't think that we can be arrogant enough to think that there's not anything out there, that we're just it. I mean, that's a little bit too bold and egotistical for me to say that, yeah, okay, this little rock we're on right here, we're it. There ain't nothing else. I'm not that closed-minded. But I do believe that if we're looking for other terrestrial life, we would be looking for ourselves out there. But you know, guys, chime in, comment, let me know what you think. I mean, like I said, this is a topic that's open for discussion. You know, I would never try to force anyone to subscribe to the way I believe or to this right here, but you know, I'm interested in hearing what you guys think. Drop down, comment. Yes, I mean, you don't even have to go into it long if you don't want to. Just say, yeah, I believe there's something out there, or no, I believe we're it. I mean, you know, and, you know, again, it's kind of one of those things where you say, where I say that, but I also have to admit to you and to myself that there is a possibility that we're it. The old Midnight Express carried me up the hill. But this is an interesting subject. Now, I'm a stargazer. I love to sit and look at the stars and peer through telescopes, and you know, we've had big views of the planets going on. And I mean, that stuff, all of that astrological stuff, while I'm interested in it, I don't try to invest my life into it, like, you know, what's your sign and what's your horoscope. I don't really fall in for all of that. But yeah, I mean, you know, one of the house, I'm going into Ducktown, and that just kind of makes me remember another thing that I had said. My grandma Higdon's house was in Ducktown up in Buzzard Roost. And guys, on a summer night when it was clear and it was quiet, I mean, you could sit on the front porch or the back porch or out in the yard, and you had a 360 degree panoramic view of the stars. And I mean, you could just sit and look at the stars and see the satellites flying over, you know, and you would see these satellites that would fly over and they wouldn't blink, and you'd think, well, I know that's a satellite, but then you'd think, well, maybe that one's not a satellite. Now, you know, do I think that aliens have come to Earth? You know, I would never tell somebody that they were lying if they told me that they saw something, whether it be a spaceship or what they thought might be an alien. This lady's running 35 miles an hour on the 4 lane. That might be alien right there. Sorry. But anyway, I would never tell somebody that they just didn't see something, because, you know, who knows? Certainly it's not for me to tell somebody that they didn't see this, or no, that did not happen to you. So, you know, yeah, I mean, it's not my place to say what is or what isn't when it comes to stuff like that. But, you know, let me know, guys. What do you think? I mean, to me, the subject is interesting, because that's one of those subjects, like I said, that it can have an infinite number of possibilities. You know, there can be so many different possibilities, so many different ways that it can be, you know, what they would call an infinite number of possibilities. But the sci-fi genre has always been kind of interesting to me. You know, I've listened to a lot of the old radio programs like X-1 and Dimension X, and, you know, you kind of listen to that 1940s and 1950s twist on everything about what they thought it would mean to make contact with life on other planets or life on other worlds or whatever. Of course, the most infamous or famous reports of this, of course, being Orson Welles' adaptation of War of the Worlds, the old H.G. Wells novel. Of course, we all know what War of the Worlds are, or I hope we all know. Tom Cruise made it a blockbuster, but I've actually listened to the original broadcast of the War of the Worlds multiple times over the years. I've listened to and I watched the documentary where they had went back and talked to some of the teenagers and the early 20 kids who listened to that original broadcast on their radio. And, you know, you think about that just being a radio broadcast, but you think about the impact that that one radio broadcast had. People panicked. Kind of what they're doing right now, which is why we're running out of gas. They're panicking for no reason, but we have been conditioned to panic. You know, talking about the gas, and then back when the Rona first started, you know, people were running out and buying up the toilet paper and the wipes and Clorox, and just, you know, we have been conditioned by the media to find doom and gloom in every little thing and panic. And it's gotten worse since the War of the Worlds. And you think about the original broadcast of the War of the Worlds was in the 40s, and they panicked then, but they panicked for a whole nother reason. They panicked because Orson Welles knew how to sell the story. And, you know, when you're selling a story on a broadcast and you're making it sound like a live broadcast, like this is really going on, then, you know, that's that's a feat in itself. And, you know, you think about that, how far we've come with the media, and we're still being conditioned right now, guys. Every time one of those alien movies come out, or every time, you know, they introduce a new Marvel character like Thor and Loki and Captain Marvel, you know, humans coming from not this world, that's conditioning. They're conditioning us for something. Now, I'm not going to get into government conspiracies, because I don't subscribe to conspiracy theories. I just don't. It's not who I am. But when you look at everything, when you look at all of it kind of seems like there's something more, don't it? I mean, to me it does. But guys, drop down, comment, let me know what you think about this subject. I didn't mean for this video to be this long. I was just going to kind of summarize it up, and I got off on other tangents. I do that sometimes. I lose my focus. And again, I want to thank you guys for the support. And if you're new, I'm T-Bone. Thank you for clicking onto this video and checking me out. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, like. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell. Guys, if you're on Facebook, share it. Feel free to share any of my videos you want to. Like I said, I'm not trying to monetize nobody or anything like that. But, you know, to me, it's just a fascinating subject. And keep in mind, guys, we're getting closer to the Memorial Day weekend. Bike show and all that stuff getting ready to be happening, so just keep that tucked down into the back of your mind that we're getting close. I mean, it's getting closer. Speaking of getting close, it's starting to turn black. But guys, comment, like, share, let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and my name is T-Bone, and this has been the Southern Ride.